What's up, YouTube? YouTube. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, YouTube? Got a quick live for you guys this morning. Hope everybody had a good Saturday. I know I did. Celebrating my auntie's 90th birthday. So I had a pretty good day yesterday. Yep. So I just want to, there's been some new developments in this Nolan Wales case that I wanted to share with you guys. Like I say, man, it's a lot of unanswered questions that's going on. And as the day go by, and as the so-called investigation is going, a lot of things is coming out. A lot of things is coming out. But before I get into it, y'all, I do not own the right to this music. This music is for educational purposes only. Let's go.
We all agree tonight, all of the speakers have agreed that America has a very serious problem. Not only does America have a very serious problem, but our people have a very serious problem. America's problem is self-destruction. 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 Well, today's topic, self-destruction, it really ain't the rap audience is bugging. It's one of two suckers, ignorant brothers, trying to rob and steal from one another. You get caught in the mix. So to crush that stereotype, here's what we did. We got ourselves together so that you can unite and fight for what's right. Not negative cause. The way we live is positive. We don't kill our relatives. Pop, when it's shot, who's the blame? Headlines, front page, raps the name. Every street's a life hit, state the bottom line. The black on black crop is quick for a time. Rough life with a knife, that's fight. Try, cause he died of sight. Laid down when he left. Very last breath was I slept, so watch your step. Back in the 60s, our brothers and sisters were hanged. How could you gang bang? I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man, cause that's self-destruction. Yeah, self-destruction. Self-destruction. Yeah, self-destruction. Self-destruction. Yeah, self-destruction. Self-destruction. Yeah. Dos, tres, cuatro.
Funky fresh dress to impress, ready to party. Money in your pocket, time to move your body. To get inside, you pay the whole $10. Got snakes with a razor blade, take to your car. Leave the guns in the crack and hours ago. MC lights on the microphone. Boss right in the pressure, slashing and taxing. I can't understand why brothers don't be maxing. There's only one Cisco, that's close one more. You ain't guarding the door. So what you gotta come to? You rob a bitch, you give to the poor, young daddy. Who is the straight from the mouth of why daddy-o? You a crime, end up in jail, you gotta go. Cause you could do crime and get paid today, and tomorrow you're behind bars in the worst way. Far from your family, cause you're locked away. Now tell me, do you really think crime pays? Or take it what your brother had? Sucker, you talking all that jazz. It's time to stand together in a unity. Cause if not, then you'll win soon to be self-destroyed, unemployed. The rap race will be lost without a trace. Or a clue but what to do is stop the violence and fix the science. Down the road that we call eternity, where knowledge is formed and you learn to be self-sufficient, independent. To teach the east is what rap intended, but society wants to invade. So do not walk this path that they laid it. Self-destruction, yeah, self-destruction, self-destruction. D9, break it down like this. Self-destruction, yeah, self-destruction, self-destruction. I'm melody and I'm a born again out. The folks in that was facing south. They wanna come get from stage for the devil. The enemy knows, they know, because everyone knows the hip hop is so we got to and grab what's the opposition is weak and rap is straight. This is all about no doubt to stop violence. But first, let's have a moment of silence.
100. What's up, 100?
Swing. It's been stated, re-educated, evaluated. Who I took the past have faded. The only thing left is the memories of our related. And I hate it when someone dies to get all hurt up for a silly little chick about Chuck. Word up. It doesn't make you a big man. And Jordan ain't gonna dish your brother, man. And you don't know that's part of the plan. Why was that music is in full demand? Understand? Money was just ice and bad, not a prankster. I was young as the gangster. But believe me, that is no fun. The time is now to unite everyone. You don't have to be soft to be for peace. Robbing and killing and murdering is police. You don't have to be changed by the beast. Before the people is time I release. Hey yo, this situation. Idiocy, nonsense, violence, not a good policy, therefore we must ignore, fight and fuss it. Heads out the door so there'll be no bump rushing. Let's get together before we're falling apart. The brother shot another, it broke my heart. I don't understand the difficulty, people. Love your brother, treat him as an equal. They call us animals, I mean, I don't agree with them. I prove it wrong, right is what you do with them. Take heed before I leave you understand. Oh, be on my knees, deep in the heart of the matter. The self-destruction is served on a platter. Making a day, not failing to anticipate. They got things, so they fell for the bait. That makes them a victim. Pick them up. New jackets, jail, you get the best deal of junk. There's no one the rock is in jail, you're a number. They never took the time to wonder about it. Self-destruction. Self-destruction. We urge to merge with life for the love of our people, the hope they get along. It's the point to our brothers and sisters who don't know the time. So we go to ride. Extending your hands, we know our job to build and collect ourselves with intellect. To evolve the self-respect. Cause we got to keep ourselves in check. Or else it's self-destruction. 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 Self-destruction.
What's up, YouTube? Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm doing an update on this Nolan Wells case. Like I say, it's very interesting. It's very interesting what's developing. Of course, there's a lot of narrative that's already out about what happened to Nolan. But as the investigation goes on, you learn different things. And you kind of can see the inconsistencies in the story of the people that was allegedly involved. So that's what brings out a lot of questions of what's going on. Now, I told you guys before that, you know, the family of Nolan Wells had a second independent autopsy done on Nolan. And how when they got Nolan's body, how organs was missing, key organs was missing from his from the body. And people wonder, is that normally done? You know, so that brings a whole lot of questions to the forefront. But I had ran across this video of Shooter King, comedian Shooter King, who says that he's a licensed, you know, what is it? He a licensed, you know, embalmer and all that stuff. And he was explaining of when people, you know, when they have autopsy, what is required. But I want you guys to listen to what he said. Then I'm going to go to another video and it's going to explain the case a little bit more. But let's listen to Schuler. Excuse me. Let's listen to Schuler. And see what he has to say.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, I'm going to try to squeeze this information in real fast. Now, all of you know I'm a licensed funeral director and embalmer. I'm going to speak about something about Nolan Wells. Some of y'all may be able to stomach it, some of you won't. It may be a trigger one for some of y'all. Either way it go. If you can stay, stay. If you can't, go ahead and move on. All right, now, Attorney Ben Crump and his office had released a statement saying that the second autopsy that was done in Washington, D.C. came back inconclusive thus far because when they received the body of Nolan Wells, the throat was missing. Now, somebody asked me to do a video about it because I'm a licensed funeral director and embalmer, and I was like, okay, fine. I didn't plan on doing it, but I'll do it. Now, when a medical examiner does an autopsy, there are certain body parts that are removed and examined for autopsy purposes, for records purposes. Everything should be written down. Everything needs to be documented. Is the throat removed? Yes. In other organs, yes, they are. But after an autopsy is completed, the visceral organs and all other stuff is put in placed in a biohazard bag, and it is also accompanied with the body of the deceased. So when Nolan Wells' body got to Washington, D.C., all of his body parts that were examined by the medical examiner or coroner in Mississippi should have gone with him to D.C. Nothing should have been missing. I went and Googled specifically in the state of Mississippi, is it normal practice for certain body parts to be missing after an autopsy and being sent somewhere else for a disposition or a second autopsy? And the answer that I got back was no, it is not normal for body parts to be missing. Under certain circumstances, certain body parts could be missing, but those circumstances are like if a person passed away from infectious or communicable disease. We know that that's not the case. So under normal circumstances, there is no reason why anything should have been missing from Nolan Wells' body. And if for any reason they decided, okay, well, we have to get rid of this particular body part, that should have been documented and the information should have been sent to whoever was receiving the body after the medical examiner or coroner was finished with their examination after that. So I don't know what's what, who's who did what, who decided what, but there needs to be complete transparency about that. If there was any reason that anything was missing, there needs to be 100% transparency, ahead of time. That's it.
And that was from Shooter King. He said, he mentioned he was a licensed funeral home and embalming person. That's his profession, or that was his profession. And he told you what's normally done on an autopsy case. And all that stuff wasn't done. The second, the people who did the independent autopsy didn't receive all the organs. That's a red flag right there. He said the only time where they don't, liver certain parts or whatever, if it's something like he passed away from some type of disease. And like he said, we know that didn't happen.
Hey guys.
We know that didn't happen. So it's something that's not being said, at all. So I'm going to go to this video. Like I said, Tisa Tales. Subscribe to her. She's a great content creator, great investigator, a reporter. I trust her news. I trust her investigation because I followed her for a minute. I almost followed her as long as I followed KB. So I followed her for a minute, and I saw when she was talking about the Diddy case. So she goes on facts and evidence. She looked for facts and she looked for evidence. That's what I like about her. But this is one of the videos with Tisa talking about, you know, how they trying to shape the narrative, the government of Mississippi and the governor. And she's gonna explain to you how he's trying to change the narrative. See, that's what makes everything so questionable. You know, when people try to come out and make narratives out of something, especially when it's under investigation, then you have to look twice. You have to look twice. So let's hear her say, let's hear her talk about the governor of Mississippi, and you will see why Nolan Wales' family is so keen on trying to find the truth of what happened to Nolan. Because we all know the history of the state of Mississippi. We all know the history. You know, but you know, this will explain why, you know, they don't trust the state of Mississippi.
Hey guys, listen, we have a Nolan Wells update. I know there's a lot coming through. I am going to go live and we're going to review the 8-minute audio to get to the truth. But for right now, we need to ask ourselves, is Ben Crump getting to the truth? Because do you know the governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves, has now started attacking Ben Crump and I believe Nolan Wells' family on his official governor Twitter page. And you know what for? That he was repeating, trying to call Ben Crump a liar because he was repeating what Governor Tate Reeves' beloved Cajun Navy actually said out of their mouth and then backtrack. You guys, sit down. Let's go through the receipts. I have the receipts to prove that Governor Tate Reeves is lying. But by the end of this video, you're going to be asking yourself questions you never even thought of. You guys, let's get into this, all right? The audacity. So Governor Tate Reeves actually tweeted this off of his verified account. Now, y'all remember the district attorney was up there talking about some, matter of fact, let me put what she said on the screen. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I found the clip. This is when she told us that they can't give any information, even Nolan's body parts be inspected by an independent autopsy, because we need to act credible for the investigation. But keep this in mind as I read what Governor Tate said. Hold on.
What the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Y'all. Okay, I got it right. Okay, let's go.
Its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. Mm-hmm. The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise, supported by the evidence, and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve. I also understand that many people have questions about why more information has not been released publicly. In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation. Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation and the grand jury proceeding. As your district attorney, I have an ethical obligation to avoid public statements that could influence witnesses, prejudice the proceeding, or compromise the fairness of the legal process. My obligation extends to and requires me to use reasonable care to ensure investigating agencies avoid making those statements and releasing information as well. Okay. These rules exist to protect the search for the truth, not to prevent it.
Wow. Thank you for your service in protecting the search of the truth. And can somebody tell me why Governor Tate is on his official government Mississippi governor page of Twitter? Now, I know probably nobody reads it, but it doesn't matter. He still tried because listen to me. You're saying that any government official that says anything could taint witnesses, jury, or the investigation all at once, and especially grand jury members or even witnesses. And this is my point, what I think Governor Tate has been trying to do. Why is Governor Tate acting like Ben Crump is not trying to get to the truth? Governor Tate acts like Ben Crump is trying to take down the state of Mississippi. Now, that would only be true if the state of Mississippi was trying to hide the truth. If they
Exactly. Exactly. I can't agree with that more. I can't agree with that more.
were getting in the way of the truth. Listen to what a government official said while the DA played in our face and said, "Oh well, we're going completely silent on an accidental drowning case that the police chief, the governor, who else? Everybody else is standing behind the story when they have no proof." And why is this going in front of a grand jury? Because if they could just show an autopsy saying Nolan died of an accidental drowning, or even just a drowning in general, the whole case would just putter out. Anyway, this is what Governor Tate Reeves said. Caught in it, attorney attacked him. Oh, they bold. Attorney Ben Crump is caught in yet another lie. Not the first time he's lied about Mississippi. Probably won't be the last. Sir, you are tweeting. If you can go to your burner grinder account and get off the official state of Mississippi account. But this is the type of people they elected. This is what Ben Crump is up against. Everybody telling him to sit down, be quiet. Nah, because look who you up against. Thank you, the United Cajun Navy, for setting the record straight. Jackson County law enforcement and the Mississippi Department of Public. Hold on, and hear me out before we get to the next paragraph. When he did that, you know he did it on purpose to put Nolan's family, who is this? Al Sharpton, the president of NAACP, and everybody else in the picture. Because he's literally talking about, look at these clowns up here. And you got Nolan's mom in the picture. And you did that on purpose because Nolan's mama is not letting this go. And good for her. But let's get to the rest of this statement the governor did. Is this not tampering with witnesses? Is this not tampering with the jury pool? Did this governor also do a news conference and say, "Well, I don't know much about it. Nobody's told me anything, and I don't have any details. But from talking to my good friend, the sheriff, it absolutely looks like a drowning to me. You don't got no details. You have no proof. You said you don't even know that much about the case. The only thing you know is what the sheriff told you. The sheriff was conducting an investigation, waiting for an autopsy. So honestly, what was the sheriff doing? Why were you making these public statements? I'll tell you why. Because you're trying to taint the jury. You're trying to let anybody, I think, that might know something and they get nervous being like, yo, hold the line. We got you. The state of Mississippi got you. Hell, I'll tweet from my official account, right? And you're also letting people that might want to say something, but they don't want to lose everything they have in that town. You better stay quiet because the Cajun cornbread mafia, whatever they call themselves, I'm sorry, government, again, maybe that's not their intent, but to me, that's the signals they're sending. Anyway, let's get to the rest of the paragraph. So,
see, that governor should have never came out and did that. Now, you had the district attorney saying that they're not going on anybody comments or whatever because it might taint the jury, potential jurors. But you have the governor doing exact that. If the thing is under investigation, why would you post what you have posted? You're supposed to by you being a governor, you're supposed to let the evidence speak for itself. You're not supposed to give out a narrative or a comment like you did if the investigation is still going. We still don't know what happened to Nolan. We still trying to find out. The family's trying to find out. That's all they want. They want to know what happened to their son. That's it. You know, they didn't ask for no race bait or, cause no race bait. They just want to know what happened to their son. And I believe any parent would do the same thing that the Wells family did. They just want to know the truth. They just want to know the truth. Because in my opinion, if it comes out, through all the autopsy and the evidence and whatever, and it comes out it was an accidental drowning, I believe the family would live with that. They would live with that. But it's too many lies, too many contradicting stories and statements that's going on. That'll make you want to question more. See, there's too many odd things that's happening during this investigation. Instead of it answering questions, it's bringing up more questions.
In the first two paragraphs, he called Ben Crump a liar, quote tweeted the United Cajun Navy that said, "We didn't say Nolan was fully clothed when we found him. He was wearing only swim trunks. Please don't misrepresent our words." I said, really? And now the Cajun Navy's getting in on this, but keep that in mind. The governor went on to say, the autopsy from the state medical examiner will be completed at the appropriate time, and that may be the next set of facts seen in this case. Meanwhile, Crump and Sharpton and their ilk don't care about the facts. No, ooh, I know when somebody called me a moon cricket. I know it. I know it. That's the thing about when you get into these states. As much as people be like, no, we're not our ancestors. It's different now. Baby, you was sitting here in the scene. I know for a fact you wanted to type, "Shut up, moon crickets," making all that noise. I feel it in my blood and the rest of your ilk. Anyway, moving on. That's one of my ancestors like, "Ooh, he probably had to delete it and call him ilk." Anyway, keep in mind when they said, "We didn't say Nolan was fully clothed when he was found. He was wearing only swim trunks. Please don't misrepresent our words." And I said, no, you're not trying to gaslight a nation, because baby, you might have been able to get away with this in 1960 before there was camera phones, iPhones, and baby TikToks with downloads, but you're not doing that in the heat of the night gaslighting in 2026, because look what I found. Y'all remember Nancy Grace, right? Look what I found.
And see, that's how a lot of unalive, black men and black women got unsolved, though the people who perpetrated the act got away with it. Because back then, there was no camera phones. There was no social media. It wasn't none of that. So it was easily to get away with. Because remember, people used to talk about police brutality. People used to talk about police, this in the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s. You even had rappers like NWA, rappers like that talking about police brutality. You even had Public Enemy when that young lady got unalived at the store. But I think they was Korean or something. I can't remember the nationality they was. But she got unalived at the store. And Public Enemy did a song about that. And that was the talk around town, well, I say in the United States, about that case. So a lot of shit been happening. But with the technology that's advanced, a lot of that shit that people did, they can't get away with it no more. Because all these camera phones and social media and all that. So it's hard for people to get away with that shit now. So it's crazy. It's crazy. And like I said, Groups like NWA were bringing out police brutality. But it didn't come to the forefront until we saw the film of Rodney King getting beat by police officers. Then there was an uproar. So before then, people was acting like the shit wasn't happening.
Proof since it's putting his mama up.
Todd Terrell joining us from.
So this is Nancy Grace. She's introducing Todd Terrell. Listen to this.
The United Cajun Navy called in to participate in the water search for this young star athlete, Nolan Wells, tonight. Mystery swirling around his death. How is it that a group of his friends go out on a boat? They go to a remote Horn Island. There is nobody there. It's uninhabited. How does he end up dead on the shore and everybody else makes it back? As I recall, Todd Terrell, Nolan was face down, still fully clothed on the beach. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. He was face down, which would have meant that he drowned. Now, when we say he,
as I recall, he was face down, fully clothed. Now, here's the thing. Before we get into the rest of the interview, I've actually been on Nancy Grace for the Diddy coverage, so I can give y'all a little bit behind the scenes on what happens at Nancy Grace. It's pretty vanilla. There's a production team. They're like, yo, check for sound, check for this, check for that. But they also have a brief conversation to get a loose understanding of the facts as you understand it. Now, I don't think that they like it's not coordination, but like when I was covering the Diddy trial, they'd be like, okay, so really quick, in 10 seconds or less, tell us what happened in court. And I would go through my top 10 things I basically wanted to discuss really, really quick. They'd be like, all right, no problem. Really quick. And then they're like, hold. And then Nancy comes on and Nancy has a conversation with you. She's really good. She does it off the cuff. However, what Nancy's saying, as I understand it, he was fully clothed, face down. It makes me think that in the pre-workup, prior to going live, because it happens very quickly, those facts were presented to Nancy, and I could only think the Ty Tyrell. But it doesn't matter, because no matter who got the thing of he was fully clothed and face down, this guy said, yes, that is correct. He said, yes, this is correct, but keep going.
found fully clothed beach. It was in this,
a little. Hold on, y'all.
which would have meant that he drowned. Now, when we say he was found fully clothed beach, it was in the same vicinity of where he possibly drowned.
Did you hear that? When we say that he was found fully clothed on the beach. Now, this guy, Ty Tyrell, still has pictures he offered to share with the family. So you looked at those pictures, you did all this, and then you said fully clothed. But you guys, hold on, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. Let's just keep listening.
Right there. So it was not uncommon for the body to have washed up right there. That being said, that area full of rip currents really strong right there, goes from 2 to 3 foot to 20 feet, pretty much within a couple steps. So that being said, whatever happened really, really close to where the body was found.
There's more. Hold on, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise.
Brian, again, the United Cajun Navy.
So this is when Nancy Grace tagged them back on. Because that's where Ben Crump said he was found fully clothed. The Cajun Navy went on Nancy Grace and told everybody nationally he was found fully clothed. Now get this. Nancy had this man back on. And so the nerve of the Cajun Navy to gaslight us and be like, we never said that. Yes, you did. And you said it on Nancy Grace. And that's when Ben Crump got it from. Because Ben Crump and Nancy, I don't know how tight they are, but they're mutuals. They have respect. And Ben Crump was probably watching Nancy's show just like the rest of us. But there is more, okay? Because the Cajun Navy tweeted that. And then the governor on the official account retweeted that, calling Ben Crump a liar because this interview hadn't dropped yet. Nancy had this man back on and had this man clarify. I know you think you know where I'm going, but I am not, because there is a plot twist. Hold on, y'all. Listen to this.
searched for and spotted Nolan's body. Tell me what was seen. Let's see some of that aerial video.
Yeah, so we were flying over the northwest tip of Horn Island after about 2 hours in the air, canvassing a pretty large area, when we noticed some law enforcement boats converging to the northwest tip. We descended, circled around, and saw a number of law enforcement personnel on the beach, and then you could see a body laying on at the shoreline. Of course, using a zoom lens to go in, we could see that the body matched the description of Nolan Wells.
Hey, Brian Trash.
Okay, so listen, I did out of order, but doesn't matter, right? Things you need to keep in mind. They said that they were doing an air search, and Nolan's body was already surrounded by law enforcement. I believe this is very important. I think this is why Ben Crump was asking, how was his body found? But hold on, at this end.
What can you tell me about an offer to the family regarding cadaver dogs?
Yeah, so obviously the online chatter started right away. People were coming up with all kind of bizarre theories about how he was, he came back to the island, they took him back out there and dumped him, all this kind of stuff. So we just said, hey, one of our top, canine teams happens to be in Jackson County, Mississippi. Jackson County Canine is their name. I said, we'll be happy to have these cadaver dogs go over and inspect the boat. And we told this to Crump's legal team. And so we'll have them go inspect the boat, and they'll be able to tell if there's decomp on that boat. And they said, oh, well, we heard they cleaned the boat. I said, no, there's only one chemical that you could possibly get rid of decomp with, and I guarantee these people don't know what it is. So there's no way they could be a month later and these dogs would be able to smell the decomp. And they would also have Nolan sent, if he was on the boat alive, they would also know if there was a dead body on that boat. And they declined. They said, nah, we don't think so. So I'm not sure why they didn't want to dispel that right away. We would have known right away if the dead body had been on that boat.
Do you know why? You don't know why? Well, let me tell you why. Let me give you my whole Scooby-Doo thing. I believe that this is some sort of cover-up. I don't know what happened to Nolan or how it happened. I have theories, but that's besides the point. Something happened, and everybody's moving really, really weird. And whatever it is that happened,
what's up, Mike?
I believe that they do not want it to get out because I think it is very bad for them. I think it can be very life-changing for everybody involved, and I think it can pull a lot of people down, from children to their powerful parents. That's what I think. And I think that everybody is acting like, did you guys ever see that show, Pretty Little Liars? Everybody is acting like this is like season 3 of Pretty Little Liars. It's getting weird, all right? But hear me out. The Cajun Navy first said that Nolan was fully clothed. The man that first interviewed with Nancy Grace, I believe it is this guy, he had pictures on his phone. You know the difference between fully clothed and not fully clothed, okay? Now, he came back and he said, well, you know what? I made a mistake. When I said fully clothed, I meant swim trunks. Yes, because you can make a mistake. Hear me out. They said that when they were flying over and they discovered Nolan's body, he was already surrounded by police law enforcement. And that's when they got closer and they snapped the picture. Would it be so out of the ordinary to suspect, don't know if it happened, that the reason why Ben Crump is pressing so hard into how did Nolan look? What was Nolan wearing? What was Nolan doing? Was because what? Because how was he found? Was he found fully clothed? Are there pictures of him fully clothed? Did somebody, maybe even the police, take his shirt off and reposition things and then have to take more pictures? Because it doesn't make sense that somebody drowned fully clothed on Horn Island in that brown water. Maybe. But the thing is, I will say this. Ben Crump is not a fool. And he knows about that cornbread Cajun mafia. All small towns, now I'm not saying they're organized crimes, but all small towns are known for, especially in the South, is now what you know is who you know. And that good old boy network, everybody know everybody, right? Because if you're somebody, then your kids play together. They grow up together. My point of the matter is this. Ben Crump went off of what the guy in the Cajun Navy said on Nancy Grace. I don't understand how somebody can make a mistake about whether somebody was fully clothed and then double down on them being fully clothed, especially when you got MFing pictures in your phone of him fully clothed. and you looking at those pictures while you're doing an interview? Maybe, right? Let's just say. But the fact that you tweeted Ben Crump to call him a liar, and then Governor Tate came up with the alley-oop, it's almost like volleyball. They was spiking it, right? Came up with the alley-oop. You know, you threw it up from him. He came up and was like, Trump lying. And he's going to lie again for the state of Mississippi. It's almost like you and Governor Tate are like this. It's almost like them good old boys is looking from those big city lawyers coming down, talking loud and acting flashy and trying to tell you what's going to happen in your investigation. So if you believe that the Cajun Navy's loyalty is to the governor of Mississippi, because if you go against the governor of Mississippi, the Cajun Navy will ride no more in Mississippi, right? And y'all were friends, y'all respect each other. And he's tweeting, trying to gaslight us, making it seem like Ben Crump's a liar when Ben Crump is repeating what y'all said. And then y'all came back and said, we never said that when it's on film. It's captured in 4K. That you said it on Nancy Grace. Everybody heard you, even People Magazine, New York Times, everybody picked up that soundbite. And y'all come back and gaslight us and say, no, we didn't say that. Then I'm going to think about Ben Crump, that you're working, that you're not on our team. There's teams in this. In the South, there's always teams. I'm going to think that you're not on my team. And if you're not on my team and you're making statements, yeah, he was clothed, no, he wasn't, you're a liar, who said that, and you're moving funny, why would I take your offer for your cadaver dogs to come and search the boat? Because I cannot trust you? Baby, we got backers. Colin Kaepernick is backer. They got backers, right? There's a GoFundMe that you guys should actually donate to. I donate to. The money, right? We can afford our own cadaver dogs because we can't trust anything you say. And you've proven we can't trust. And if we go by what you say, you will backtrack, try to gaslight us, try to embarrass us publicly, and then the governor's waiting in the wings to retweet it. Because he got a problem with us from the get-go. So my whole point of the matter is this whole thing about, oh, he was clothed, no, he wasn't, whatever. Now I see why Nolan's mom's like, let me see the pictures. And no, don't send them to me. I want to see them out your phone. And they're trying to coordinate a time. The mom can look at the phone and see the pictures. The whole point of the matter is, I say all this to say, you already said something that doesn't make sense. When I used you as a fact source, you took that opportunity to try to embarrass me on Twitter and sink Nolan's mom's case. And then the governor joined hands with you and tried to embarrass us some more. Calling Crump's a liar, this and that. It's Crump versus the state of Mississippi. And you turned this to a blood feud. And now the people that have shown me that you're on the governor's side is offering to get cadaver dogs. Please, those cadaver dogs are going to be a 12-pack of golden doodles. And y'all going to be like hiding kibbles and bits all over the boat to take the scent off. Again, Ben Crump is not new to this. He's true to this. Everybody sees, at least I think, what these boys are trying to do. No, they don't need your cadaver dogs. No, they don't need your help. Because the last time you helped, it turned into the governor calling Ben Crump a liar. Nobody is slow. We see what is happening. And I'm glad Ben Crump is not letting you guys get ahead of it. Again, that governor lied on Ben Crump. He's trying to gaslight us. And the Cajun Navy is joining hands with us. So no, we don't need your help anymore. We don't need your help. Because the one thing you should have did, and you should have did right and everything, is before you went on Nancy Grace to give an interview about Nolan Wells and what you found and all this stuff, the very least you could have done is to make sure you were speaking true, actual, factual. Now nobody knows what the truth is, but I know you're not on my team, and I know I can't trust you, and I know you have additional motives, and Governor Tate has given up the whole Scooby-Doo mystery. So what now? Keep your dogs, keep your help. When they needed you, y'all weren't there. And now you want to pop in and be like, good cop. Oh, is there anything we can do? Can we show you the pictures? Ben Crump was crying Nolan's mom was crying on the TV for 10 business days, begging for information. Now y'all want to share pictures? Now you want to tell Nancy Grace, well, we offer cadaver dogs, and they said no. Did they? Why did the MF and police say yes? Why did the MF and police bring in their own cadaver dogs? Why did the MF police not even go out on search till 8, 9, 10 hours after there was a missing person. Man, please. Anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
And see, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. It seems like it's too much cover up. It seems like they're not letting the investigation happen. You know, it just seems too much like a cover up. Because the governor shouldn't be doing what he's doing, especially in cases like this. You know, so that's why it seems like it's a tie between the government and the law people in Mississippi, down there in Jackson County, Mississippi. You know, because it's a trip when you go off on what people said, then you repeat what they say. Then they act like they never said it. Try to make you a liar. Try to make you a liar. Now, I want to play this last video. Of course, it's from Tisa Tales. It's from Tisa Tales. She's talking about the interview that one of Nolan's friends did on, I believe it's Sergeant Tatum's show. And he was talking about the incidents that happened. But she points out a lot of inconsistencies in his story and in the story that's surrounding the case, period. But I'm going to play, and we're going to listen to it. Like I say, this is from Tisa Tales. You know, you can subscribe to her. She's a good investigator, content creator here on YouTube. You know, it's one of the few content creators I watch, especially like cases like this, you know, court cases and all that. So there's not too many y'all watch and follow. But she's one of the best to me. In my opinion, she's one of the best. Because she deals with nothing but facts and evidence. You know, not no conspiracy or nothing like that. She speaks on facts and evidence. Well, let's hear what she said about this guy Warren, one of Nolan's friends, and what he was saying on Officer Tatum's podcast when he interviewed him.
Hey guys, listen, we have late night breaking news on the Nolan Wells case, and this one actually might crack the case open. If you guys don't know, right, Officer Django, aka Tatum, issued a part 3 of an interview with Warren, okay? Now, hear me out, because I guarantee this is going to be something you have not heard from anybody in a different angle. He talks about Nolan's last moments. He also talks about Katie, but he gives more insight. And of course, he looks guiltier. But you guys, I think there is a scenario that everybody's missing. And I think this is a scenario that combines all of their stories with the truth and points to the one question nobody's been asking. How did that pump get broken? I repeat, how did the pump get broken? Because all these theories about a fight that happened over the boat, and I believe it was a woman, a girl, over Katie. I'm going to give you guys the receipts to see what you think. You guys, I think we are getting closer and closer and closer to the truth. Now, let's read the article that TMZ just posted. As you know, they literally just posted part 3. Nolan Wells' friend says we thought he passed out on somebody's couch. Now, hear me out before I give my theory on the boat pump, okay? Listen to this. Nolan Wells' best friend said he didn't understand the initial panic of others searching for him because he just assumed he passed out on someone's couch. Now, this is Warren Hudson saying this. Warren Hudson laid out the hours after Nolan's disappearance during an interview with the Officer Tatum show, revealing one of his pals with who he had returned from Horn Island got an agitated phone call around 12:30 a.m. July 5th, hours after they'd last seen Nolan. About 30 minutes later, Warren says a group of 10 people or so slammed open the door to the house where they were staying, clearly freaking out after not having heard from Nolan. Warren says the dude he knew from high school was with this group. He stepped outside with that guy who he says told him he thought Nolan had probably just crashed on someone's couch, which Warren agreed with. Warren notes Nolan had gotten intoxicated. We have only Warren's word for this, and we're waiting for toxicology reports, so take this with a grain of salt, okay? I'm just giving you Warren's story before we rip it apart. He thinks Nolan had just gotten intoxicated, so he figured Nolan was just sleeping it off somewhere. He also notes one member of the group, who he describes as Mom, asked for Nolan's phone, okay? Now, in that interview, and we'll go over it tomorrow in a live, but in that interview, this is what happened. You called the mom at about 11:07, and you said, yo, have you heard from Warren, okay? The mom was like, nah, why? He said in the second part of the interview, this is the third part that just got released. He said in the second part of the interview, don't worry, okay? We're going to find him. He said, I told her we're going to find him. He then called the Coast Guard at 11:45 and was on the phone with the Coast Guard for 20 minutes. Now, one would ask, what were you doing? What did you actually say to the Coast Guard for 20 minutes? We'll come back to that. Let's not forget that even though they say their boat was sinking and it was towed, the boat never got towed. The dispatcher clearly said on the call when she called the captain, while Warren was on the phone acting like he didn't know what was going on, Warren's grandfather called and was on the other line saying, don't worry about it. Again, it looks like an alibi call. But can you explain to me this? Put yourself in the mind of an 18, 19-year-old kid, right? You got some freedom. You got a boat, which out in the Mississippi Delta is like having a nice car. What 19-year-old calls someone's parent? Oh, so I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Warren also said in the interview, he crashed, went to sleep. And then at 7:30 a.m., he was like, oh, damn, ain't no Warren around, right? He said that he actually wasn't even worried about Warren. So let me get this straight. You weren't worried about Warren. You thought everybody was overreacting. But you hit a 19-year-old. You called somebody's mom being like, have you seen him? Why were you calling around looking for Nolan? If you didn't think it was a big deal. What, do you know how worried you have to be as a 19-year-old to call somebody's mom? Unless you were establishing an alibi. Then you call the Coast Guard for 20 minutes. We do not know what was said in that call. But and honestly, did you say he was even missing? Because the Coast Guard didn't mobilize till 10:05 when Nolan's mom reported him missing at midnight. Then the Coast Guard, for whatever reason, the police sat on it and then called the Coast Guard in the morning, and the Coast Guard mobilized in the morning to go. So let me get this straight. You called a mom at 11:45. I'm sorry, at 11. You called the Coast Guard at 11:45. You then checked notes, called somebody else at 12:30, right? You got an agitated phone call around 12:30 a.m. on July 5th after having last seen Nolan. You went to sleep. No troubles, no worries. You didn't have any trouble or any worries. You went to sleep. And then you're trying to tell us because you didn't think it was a big deal? Then what was the call to the Coast Guard for? And what was the call to Nolan's mama for? To me, it looks like you were setting up alibis. A call for a tow, going to dispatch was the main channel, which you know will be logged in, but then your granddaddy comes from the side and calls the tow truck owner directly on his private line, a line that you know that he knows won't be logged, and your granddaddy says, Yeah, I know they're about to call for a tow. Just ignore it. They don't need it. But the dispatcher, and I don't think they knew the dispatcher will call the captain. Okay, we'll go all over this in the live. But do y'all see what I am saying? Which leads me to my point. What could they be covering up? I think they were covering up the fact that something happened to Nolan on that boat. And I think the bilge pump is the key to that. You got
Now, remember, I don't know if you guys heard my live when I explained about what was missing and what the second autopsy revealed. But like I said, they revealed that part of his throat was missing, the organ of his throat, and he had this coloration in the back of his head. Now, I had watched that Nancy Grace interview, and I think I went over it. And when she had mentioned that, the guy was saying that it could have happened when he was watched. He could have hit a rock or something, or all kind of other excuses of how he could have had that discoloration in the back of his head. So they was trying to figure out all kind of excuses or all kind of different narratives to, in my opinion, to cover something up. Now, I said before, I don't know if these boys had anything to do with it, but as evidence comes out, man, it's something ain't what's that Keith Sweat song? Something just ain't right. Something ain't right.
Guys, let's go on a little investigative journey, right? Because I was like, how could a bilge pump on a boat get damaged? Because I was like, this is just so weird, and it got fixed so quick. How could it get damaged? Could a fight? Could sabotage? What could happen? Listen to what ChatGTP has to say. A physical fight or intense roughhousing on a boat can indeed trigger a chain reaction leading to a serious flooding emergency through the damage. It usually happens indirectly rather than someone physically smashing the bilge pump itself. Hold on, you guys. Put this in your scenario. I think we might be on to something. Direct damage versus reality. Can a fight smash a bilge pump? Remember, Nolan had that mark on the back of his head, leading to believe that there was a fight going on. Now, I do have a theory about what the fight was about. Remember when Nolan was on an interview? Well, I'll get to it, right? Directly destroying the bilge pump during a scuffle is unlikely. Bilge pumps are typically housed deep in the bilge sump and at the absolute lowest point on the hull, usually tucked beneath floorboards, engine mounts, and inspection hatches. Shoving someone on the deck or in the cabin won't directly impact the pump itself. However, a physical altercation can easily cause the kind of secondary damage that results in rapid flooding and a distress call. Hold on. There's more. Slamming into thorough hulls and seacocks. Both have various intake and discharge fittings for sinks, heads, libels, and engine cooling below or near waterline. If someone gets slammed violently against a bulkhead, a cabinet, or a hull side where these hoses and bronze plastic seacocks are located, a fragile or aged fitting can snap off entirely, letting water pour in at high pressure. Again, when they searched the boats, did they check for any of this? But there's more. Or straining and clogging the pump. A chaotic struggle in the cabin or the cockpit can easily kick up loose gear, dirt, hair, or trash into the bulge. If that debris gets sucked into the bulge pump's intake strainer, it will instantly clog the impeller, causing the pump to burn out or fail to move water just as it's needed most. Again, if there was a fight on the ship, all right? If there was a fight on the ship, it literally could have secondary caused the clogging of the bilge pump. A heavy impact against electrical panels or battery switches could trip breakers or short out the automatic float switch. If water is already entering the boat from an unrelated leak, a disabled electrical system means the automatic bilge pump won't kick in. Now, this is important to know. If someone stumbles into the helm controls during a scuffle, the boat could violently alter course, strike a dock or shallow rock, and breach the hull. Now, I don't think that happened at all, but my whole point is I want you to imagine how much a little skirmish on the boat for anything could make a difference. It's important to note that the boat rarely sinks just because the bilge pump stops working. And I remember how they were saying, oh my God, the boat's sinking. Sinking requires water to be actively entering the hull faster than it can escape. A bilge pump is technically an emergency backup or a way to handle minor condensation and rainwater. It's not designed to keep pace with a gaping hole in the hull. Now, again, he's saying it just got clogged and they were taking up water. But keep in mind this, right? Things that actually cause sinking level bilge and flooding failures. A hose clamp failure, stuffing box and shaft cell failure, or a stuck float slip. Now, remember how they were saying they were taking on water so quickly? According to Gemini, ChatGPT, and all these other things, they're saying that a stuck bilge pump does not cause rapid sinking. It has to be something more and something bigger because a bilge pump is a secondary pump on a boat to make sure water doesn't come in, not the first. You would need the failure of the first for it to come in. However, if it was damaged, it could have been easily damaged from a fight. And somebody being knocked into stuff, right? Now, here's where it all comes together. And this is just my theory, but I think it's important to share. All right? I think that the reason nothing makes sense is because everybody is trying to make facts fit into a narrative that makes them innocent. Do you see what I'm saying? See, I think that Katie was around. I think that Nolan, I think Warren was there. I think everybody was there. I actually think that the bilge pump got damaged. I don't think enough to sink, but I think there was a fight on the ship, or it could have been, and the bilge pump got damaged. And they're trying to create a narrative as to why the bilge pump was damaged. Do you see them?
See, it's too many narratives being played instead of the truth coming out. See, that's what made things look so crazy. They want to say it's not a cover up. We're doing what we need to do, and to find out what happened to Nolan. But what's happening, it don't add up. It don't add up. Not at all. Because I want you to listen to the rest of what Tisa says. Because he brings up a good point later on in this video. And I think there's a lot of things people are not taking into consideration.
Saying, so there's a fight, all this stuff. They can't say there's a fight. All they can do is make a call saying, like, oh, my bilge pump's damaged. They can't say, oh, Nolan got thrown into it. Nolan did this, Nolan did that, because then they'd have to explain where Nolan was. So they made a story about, oh my God, the bilge pump got damaged and we think the boat's sinking. And they put in a call to Cito at 4:30 as an alibi. So they would have an alibi as to where they were and what they were doing when around the time that nobody can remember where Nolan was. Now, keep in mind another thing, right? Let me just cook. I'm going somewhere. So again, I think they're all trying to make a narrative. So when they search the boat, how'd this bio pump get broken? Oh no, it's been broken. We were sinking. We were here. We were there. We called for help because we thought we were sinking. But then the grandfather's on the other line being like, yo, don't worry about it. We don't need help.
Hey, Ricky, I agree with that. I agree with that. But leading up to find out the truth, there's too much stuff that's coming out where it make it seem like a cover-up. Seem like they're not really trying to find the truth. See, and that's the reason why Nolan Wells' family hired Ben Crump. Because that family isn't dumb. They know the history. They know the history. And they knew under circumstances like that, the real truth is not going to come out. Even if them boys, just say allegedly them boys did have something to do with Nolan Wells. Them boys' family is well connected in Mississippi. They like rich boys. You know, one of the boys' stepmother is a judge. You know, ain't no telling what other connections the other white guy's family have. And you know, it's the old boys network. Good boys network, whatever they call them. Because one thing they're going to do, they're going to try to cover their own. We see that through history. They're going to cover their own. You know, so that's why it's so many unanswered questions. That's what making everything look funny, making it look like a cover-up. See, you got a family trying to find the truth, and they hire a well-known civil rights lawyer. But you gonna call that man a liar. The governor gonna call him a liar. And he just repeating what the guy who works for the state of Mississippi said. So shouldn't he call that man a liar? He didn't call him a liar. He called Ben Crump a liar. But Ben Crump just repeating on what this man said, who's supposed to have discovered the body. Make that make sense. So when you see something like that, how do you think the family feel? They knew off back they weren't going to get a fair investigation, or they ain't going to never find out what really happened to their son. They knew it. Ben Crump didn't have to go ambulance chasing them. They knew. They knew. And see, the thing, and like I said before, the great thing about social media is that shit like this is worldwide. The internet is big. So stories like this, unless people just don't care or whatever, would never go away. The pressure will always be on them people. The pressure will always be on the line of justice. So all that shit they did back in the 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s, they can't do that shit no more. Because everything is publicized through many avenues. And technology, let's not speak on that. Technology is the big thing. Excuse me, y'all. My bad. That's my bad. Yeah, but technology is a big thing. You know? So it's we seeing things develop in real time that should wake up America, period. Should wake us up. You know? We have some evil people in this world. All shades and colors. We have some evil people in this world. That's why I say it's not about black and white. It's not about black and white. It's about good and evil. Either you good or you evil. Evil comes in all shades. Just ain't all white people bad. That's bullshit. Just like people say all Republicans are racist. How do you know? How can you say all the Republicans are racist and the Democrats not racist? That's not true. That's not true. You know, you have some good Democrats, you have some bad Democrats. You have some good Republicans, you have some bad Republicans. But see, they are working in a system. So whatever the head of that system says, no matter what they beliefs or what's in their heart, they have to go with that system. Because a lot of people knock Barack Obama, but Barack Obama was an activist before he got in the government. But when you get in that system, things changes. Things changes. You can't go in and try to change an over 300-year-old system. You can't. Because for one, they're not going to let you do everything that you feel you want to do, especially when you get like the president. You have to go in that system. You have to do what the big donors want you to do. You have to support what the big donors want you to support. It ain't about you. It's about them big donors, that money. That's what it's about. So to please the big donors, you have to do what the big donors want you to do or fight for. So, in my opinion, I don't want to hear nobody knock Barack Obama. You can't knock that man. You probably say, well, you know, he said he's president for all people. Well, when you're president, you are president of all people. Because it's just not black people that live in the United States. That's a true statement. That's a true statement. But you can't expect a man, even if Jesse Jackson would have won back in the day, he wasn't going to be able to do everything he wanted to do. But they probably knew Jesse was. And did Jesse win? No.
If you don't know what's wrong,
Jesse didn't
know where
win.
to
My
go.
bad, y'all.
Fetch, the better, kinder ER for Patty.
I'm talking and
Meet Sarah and Henry. They just moved
I ain't playing the video. But let's listen. Hold on, y'all.
But you clearly called to your grandfather, and your grandfather told you to call in a dispatch, creating a narrative, and you were using that broken whatever you want to call it. We'll call it the bio pump. You were using that broken pump as your excuse for calling, and that way nobody would actually ask, well, how did the pump get broken? Was it even broken? Something happened. Nolan got that mark in the back, got that blood in the back, well, but the bloody tissue in the back of his head. What happened? So what actually happened? Why do I think there was a fight on the boat? I think it all boils down to Katie. Katie's name keeps getting brought up, but more importantly, right? I think it's good in cases to look at what people say and what their words say. I thought it was very, very odd that.
Now, I want y'all to listen to this. I want y'all to listen to this. That's why I like keeping up with shit like this. Because, like, doing the investigation, different things come out. And you kind of can see what's going on. But listen to what she just said, what she's about to say.
Warren claimed, right? That Warren claimed that even though the boat was panicking, they were screaming at Nolan, Nolan, get the F on the boat! Get the F on the boat! If there were two other boats around, why would you be screaming to someone to get the F on a sinking boat in 31 feet? But there's more, right? Warren claimed the boat they arrived in was experiencing the issues. They said Warren said no, and there was a conflict over the yelling. But keep in mind, we just found out that all these boats, even Katie's boats, were right next to each other. So explain to me how Katie saw Warren leave, but never saw him get on the boat. His friends saw him go to Katie, but never saw him actually be with Katie. And everybody just act like Nolan just vanished, even though they weren't like a half mile apart or even a 5-minute walk. They were right next to each other, docked next to each other. So why would everybody be involved in this big lie?
Now, remember, all that wasn't being said at first. Everything was saying it was like 1,000 people on the, you know, there, hundreds of people there, you know, all up and down the island. That's what was first told. Now we're learning that everybody was docked next to each other, even Katie. So the story is true that he stayed there to be with Katie. Katie's boat was right docked by theirs. You see how why this started not to make no sense? Am I the only one that's seeing this shit? I don't think so, because I think Tisa, she sees it, but I'm just saying. Again, I'm getting this from Tisa Tales, man. Y'all subscribe to her, man. She be on it. Her and Nancy Grace. Them are two girls there. as far as investigation and crimes and stuff like this. Them were two girls there. But don't some just seem odd?
If it is a lie, well, let me just say this, okay? And I think it's very important to say. In the second part of the interview, Warren said something very interesting. He said Nolan was cradling Katie. I thought the use of the word cradling was really odd. It seems such a hater way to describe something. Not, oh, they were hugged up. You know, he was with Katie. Oh, he was over there loved up with Katie. No, cradling her. As if you had been observing for a while. As if you had been sickened by the affection.
Exactly. Go on, preach, Tisa. My bad.
I just see you have been like, God, he's doing too much. Like, really? He's cradling her. It's such a jealous, observational, hater word to the thing. What if Nolan was the big man? Either Warren, because Warren said his brother got in a fight. Either Warren or his brother said some slick shit and got in a fight with Warren because they were jealous because Katie wanted Warren. Hear me out. They were jealous Katie wanted Warren, so they started a fight with Warren because they wanted to sun him and put him in his place and humiliate him and embarrass him in front of Katie.
She said Warren, but I think she mean Nolan. I don't think she meant Warren, because Warren's the one who's telling the story. And she's saying Warren was the one who was talking about Nolan cradling Katie, and that he probably liked Katie, but Katie liked Nolan. So I think that was kind of a mistake she made when she said that, when she said Warren. I think she meant Nolan.
Katie. And what if when they started shit with Warren, it started with them yelling, Warren, get the F on the boat! Get the F on the boat! Because maybe one of them had a crush on Katie. Again, maybe the person saying,
what's up, Moonlight? I see you.
Maybe one of them had a crush on Katie. And they was yelling, Warren, get the F on the boat! Get the F on the boat! Because they was trying to cock block. And Warren got in a boat like, yo, what's your problem? And Warren and or his brother tried to sun Warren and humiliate him in front of Katie. Because let's not forget, Katie's boat was like almost docked right next to it. They weren't miles apart. And in that thing of them trying to sun Katie, they went at it with Warren. Warren gave it right back to him. Somehow they got the better of him. Warren slipped on something. His head hit something. There was a fight in the hall, out of this, that, and the third. And now everybody is trying to make it go away. Again, you guys, listen, I don't know what happened, but there is a theory that is starting to take place in my head. And I know I'm just bringing the facts to you, but I'm really trying to work through it. And I would like for us to work through them together. Anyway, y'all, listen, let me know what you think in the comments. It's kind of—
So that's about it. But yeah, I see you, Moonlight. My bad. I was busy talking. I wasn't looking at the chat. But salute to you. Thanks for coming through. You know, I don't be looking at, sometimes when I talk, Moonlight, I don't too much look at the chat that much, you know, because while I'm playing the video, I'm looking at it. So I'm not really paying attention to the chat. I might look down every now and then and see, you know, if somebody types something, but, you know, I see you. I don't want no smoke, Moonlight. Oh, hey, Derry, I get used to it, Derry. I be so deep in the, you know, what I'm talking about, man. Sometimes I just don't look at the chat. I'll look down. I say, oh, shit, okay. Then, you know, I'll speak, you know. But, you know, hey, man, it is what it is. Oh, you talking about Leonard? Okay, okay. What time you going on live? Well, it depends, Moonlight. If I be at home or whatever, I hit your link. It depends on what time you go on. You know, the weekend is a busy day for me, especially during the day. So, just let me know what time. If I'm available, I'll be there. I'll be there. Yeah. He just I don't know him, but like he doing everybody else, I guess, he saw one of my lives and we had a little back and forth, whatever, whatever, whatever. But hey, it is what it is. We kept it on a roasting tip, About noon, no, no, no. I ain't gonna be able to hit it then. It depends on how long you be on, Moonlight. Depends on how long you be on. Oh, you had words with him? Oh, okay. I didn't know you had words with him, Moonlight. Well, just remember this. What he said is not my thoughts. Oh shit. That's all I say. He doing his own thing. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Like I say, I know him no more than I know you in real life. So, it ain't like we teams or no bullshit like that. Like I say, I came to YouTube by myself and leave YouTube by myself. And I mean that. You know? So that's where I'm at. I'm not busy. Well, shit. I'm not busy, but I don't have time either. Because once I get off this live, I got to start getting ready for my day. So, like I say, it depends on how long you be on, Moonlight. I know you don't be doing no 5-6 hour lives and shit. Then see you where, Derek? Oh, salute to Derek. My bad, dog. Salute to Derek, man. Thanks for coming through, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. See, that's why I like everybody to come. I want this page to be comfortable where everybody can come. I don't want that division and all that bullshit. Not on my channel. All that, fuck that, man. That shit to me is stupid. To me, that shit is stupid. That's why I say everybody welcome on my page. Everybody got a mind, I hope. But I'm sure that everybody got a mind. You know? Oh, Clay, trust me. Trust me. I will. I did it earlier. When I first started doing live, I was doing it earlier. See, I don't mind you come to my live, you want to crack jokes. Like I say, man, I grew up roasting. Me and my friends, we still roast today. So, that don't bother me. People are going to do what they do. My thing of it is, while you doing what you're doing, just listen to what I'm saying. That's the only thing I ask. You do what you do. People do what they do. People troll. People like doing that. You got some people like doing that. It's the internet. You have fun. Yeah. 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 To me, all this shit is crazy. People blaming other people for doing things, and you look at it, everybody doing the same damn thing. You say you have unfinished business. What the hell? What somebody do to you, Clay? You say you the best at Hey, my mom always told me, shit, if you gonna do something, be the best. Strive to be the best. If you're gonna be a bomb, be the best bomb. So you always try to be the best, no matter what you do. You know. See, Derry, I don't, you know, shows like that, talk about people and all that shit, downgrade people. I don't read if I don't catch it live or whatever, and it's not being talked about me. I very seldom see videos talked about me sometimes, but in that case, I don't rewatch it. If I miss it, I miss it. I don't have time to rewatch shit. I don't have time for that. If I catch it, I catch it. You know, like when I went out of town before the 4th of July, man, I ain't watched YouTube at all. So if I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. Because to me, it's all the same damn thing. Same damn thing happening. So shit, it's just like if you watch soap operas, you can miss a week of the soaps. Then you watch it Monday, you'll catch right up to see what's happening. Because the same thing is going on. So I ain't into it like that, man. I don't shit. I come on YouTube. Well, before I come on YouTube, I check out other content like news, crime content, shit like that, sports content. Then other shit is last resort. Is when I'm done doing what I like to watch, really like to watch, and what I really follow. So that's why in some form I kind of step back from the beef shit. I might go to that page, I'll speak to the people I know in there. I'm gone. Some instances I might make a comment. Well, hey, that's my freedom. Shit. But other times I'm gone. It ain't no more hanging on somebody's path. I learned my lesson from that. Because you do some shit like that, you support people. People throw narratives. So the only thing you can do in that situation is let them be great. And that's how I look at it. Let them be great. That's how I was saying about Leonard. People wanted me to go back at him. I said, no. I'm going to let him be great. Because if I don't respond, what else can you say? If I want to respond, I'll come to my page. That's if I want to respond. So that's how I do it now. I stick to talking about things I want to talk about. What I feel, in my opinion, is more important. That's what I do on my page. But like I say, if I have to respond to something, I will respond. Then let it go. I'm done with it. I ain't got to keep going back and forth. You're not my woman. And that's speaking from a man or a woman. You're not my woman. I don't even like going back and forth with my woman. So why do you think I'm going to go back and forth with you? I'm going to say what I got to say and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. You said what you had to say. Okay. I'm done. Now we know what each other stand. That's how I look at it. Like last night, I was looking at KB Live, where they had all them brothers on the panel. And I was just listening. And see, that's what kind of following Kwame. Because Kwame speaks the truth. You might not like him. You know, people might say Kwame be full of shit sometimes, which he might do. But when it comes to real life, the truth, Kwame speaks the truth. And I admire that out of a young man. Kwame, to me, is a young man. Kwame almost old enough to be my son. But he speaks with the wisdom as an older man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, Derry, people might not like him. You know what I'm saying? You know, I ain't got no problem with people who might not like, because you're going to have people that don't like somebody or whatever. You know, that's human nature. But I'm just saying what I see. See, I listen to words. See, I know when people are doing things for entertainment. Damn, dare you that old? See, I know when people saying things for entertainment, and I know when people are talking serious, especially, you know, when it comes to real life shit. Just by their conversation. Nah, I don't think he old enough to be my son. Well, shit, Kwame, what, 44? Shit, if I had my child early, in my teens, yeah, he'll be old enough to be my child. Well, you know what, Fat Tay? Sometimes people, you know, we all don't be right sometimes, Fat Tay. You know, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know, nobody's perfect, man. But see, sometimes you have to look past that. Because nobody's perfect. Because I might say something that contradicts myself, shit. But I won't be lying. I just kind of contradict myself. You know, but you can excuse me, I'm old. Oh, shit. Yeah, 1981. Shit, I was in my junior year of high school. About to graduate the next year. I'm old, man. I'm old, man. But it feels good. I'm blessed to get to be 62. I'm blessed I get the chance to, while I'm about right mind, to speak knowledge and speak true shit to you young brothers and sisters. I'm blessed, man. You go harder for your daughter? Yeah, yeah. I unalive for mine. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like that personal shit. You know? Because before I go in that personal shit, I just log off. Because I can't do nothing to you. We on the internet. I can't do what I really want to do to you. So I'm not going to raise my blood pressure over the internet. So I just log off. I don't give a fuck if you talk about my character. But don't bring my family into it. That's all base. And some people only do it because we on the internet. So, but yeah, Like I was saying, I was watching KB Live, and you speaking truth. See, when you speak truth, people don't want to hear it. They rather go with the negative. And in my opinion, what I was listening to, he didn't take TJ off the hook. But KB always said, whatever y'all do, just don't bring me in. He stressed that. Said, whatever beef y'all got, just don't bring me in. And I believe Kwame just got tired. He got tired. Then what kicked it off? When Biz played Kwame's video when he was talking about his sister. See, you don't never supposed to get in family issues. If you're on the outside, this is a lesson. This is a message. If you're on the outside, you do not get into personal family business or issue. You don't do that. That's their business. That's their family business. You don't do that. I don't care if you're trying to prove a point. You don't do that. I, I don't know. I don't know, King Stoner. I don't know, King Stoner. You know, only thing I could think of, my opinion, is that, you know, they trying to prove something. That's just my opinion. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak for them. But I'm just saying, in my opinion and my beliefs, you do not get into family shit. If it's not your family, you don't get into their shit. Because sooner or later, whoever having problems within the family, they're going to turn on you. And what happened? Did I lie yet? Did I lie yet? Just what I said, that's just what happened. You see what I'm saying? That's why you don't get in family business. Even back in the day, the mafia had that code. You do not get in family business. You don't do that. Because next thing you know, whoever's having problems in that family gonna come at you. Then you're gonna be looking like the wrong one. That's real life. And that's what we saw happen in real time. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. The sign was on the wall. Because I always say it. You can't expect a man to go against his brother. Because me, I would never, I don't care how wrong my brother is sometime or whatever, but you better not go against my brother. You better not try to harm my brother. I don't give a fuck who it is. Even you guys, if you had a brother, no matter how fucked up your brother is or whatever, nobody better not fuck with him. As they say less. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. See, because Kwame fucked them up. They thought Kwame was going to do this, but in reality, Kwame going to do what I had just said, what a brother do for another brother. That's the difference. Because see, when I had watched the takeover, and he was going over Kwame's lie, I thought Kwame just did that. I didn't know he did that a year ago. Because they were saying that Carla was on the Junkies channel or some shit. So I'm thinking that Kwame just made that video. But that video, what I'm hearing, was made a year ago. Maybe over a year ago, I don't know. So, man, I'll tell you guys, yeah, I learned and was always told, do not get in other family business. Do not get in people's family business. If it don't have nothing to do with you, you don't have no comment about it because that's not your business. Let them work it out. Because I'm sure Kwame and his sister Carla somehow worked it out. So why rehash that to prove a point? You didn't have to rehash that to prove what TJ does. All you got to do is play the tape of what he said when he said it. You didn't have to bring Kwame in it. See, by playing Kwame's old video, you brought Kwame in it. And that's what Kwame was saying. Because in my opinion, I think Kwame was more saying is, I asked you guys not to bring me in your shit. And by you playing that video, you brought me in that shit. Now you like them, you love them, or whatever, you hate them, or whatever. You have to admit that that's a good point. So by doing that, you brought Kwame in it, what he asked you guys not to do. And that's not picking no sides. This is about truth. It's about truth. Because I was on Kwame's panel one time when he told TJ he needed to cut that bullshit out. I was on Business Channel when him and Biz and D Money and them was talking. And he was just saying, just leave my name out of it and all that shit. And he just didn't say it them 2 times. He said it more times. Just leave me out of it. Don't put me in it. So to answer your question, nah, I'm on Kwame. I agree with Kwame. Because I witnessed it a few times, him saying leave him out of it. Y'all do what y'all do, but just leave me out of it. So I hope people just listen to what Kwame was saying and understand where he's coming from instead of pitching a certain narrative to make you right or to make it what Kwame's bad or whatever the case might be. Kwame taking up for his brother, whatever the case, whatever the narrative might be. What's up, Ronald? So my thing of it is, shit, KB was right. He's like Ronald Jones. Ronald, you know what? I ain't seen you in a long time, bro. How you been, bro? What's up, DJ Clea? How you been, bro? Oh, I was. Meat ride. See, people, this is what I'm talking about. See, I know people gonna come in here crack jokes, you know, whatever. You know, it's all good. It don't bother me. But yeah, Ron, I ain't seen you in a while, man. I ain't seen you in a while. I kind of be peeping you sometimes. You be going around and stuff, getting on people's panels and shit. But you know, I don't have all day like that to watch YouTube. So, well, yeah. Yeah, Ron, I was talking about Nolan earlier. I played like 3 videos when they were talking about his case and how the investigation is continuing and how a lot of things is not adding up. So I just played that tape, man, and you the one asked. You the one asked. So I was just briefing you on it. Now we just jibbing and jabbing. I was talking about that KB Live video last night. What you think about it, Ronald? Did you see it? Oh, you finna leave? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm being a follower. Who am I following? Who am I following, Ronald? Hey, y'all. This is my long lost son, Ronald Jones. Oh, shit. Hey, son, I ain't seen you in a minute. Everybody kicking you out, man. I don't understand that, Ronald. I don't understand that, Ronald. You're a funny guy, man. Pause. You funny, man. Yeah, you right. See, I don't have nothing to do unless I make something to do. Don't worry, Ronald. I don't drop the link soon. But it ain't gonna be today. But you be speaking so true. Yeah. I'm very retired. I've been retired for 6 years. I retired at the golden age of 56. I never said I was bored. I'm never bored. If I want to do something, I find something to do. See, that's the luxury of being retired. If you don't want to do nothing one day, you don't have to. That's the luxury of being retired. Yeah, I do care. Everybody should care, Ronald. Everybody should care. Because that shit could happen to you. Shit. How about shit? Everybody should care, or or keep alert. Something. Don't just act like the shit ain't happening. Everybody should care. Shit, where you live, it can happen to you. Don't think you're safe. Shit. Don't think you're safe. For real. So, but yeah, back what I was talking about. Shit, at your age, it could happen to you. Shit, dumb motherfucker. Well, goodbye. Goodbye. You got freedom to leave. Well, you mad because I ain't talking about nobody? I'm just talking about the video I saw. And giving my opinion about it. Right now, I talked about Nolan earlier. And like I was saying before, my son came up here and interrupted me. It was a lot of truth, man. KB spoke a lot of truth, man. And I just think what was being missing out of the whole conversation, the understanding that wasn't being understood was for one, don't get in family business. And two, don't put me in your bullshit. And by you posting the video that he did over probably a year or over a year ago, is putting him in it. Because like I said, I was on the consumption that, on the belief that Kwame just made that video. But that wasn't the case. So I just think it was a mistake on Biz for doing that. Because Kwame did say then he told Biz too, just don't bring him into the shit. And by him playing Kwame video where he was explaining family shit and using his video he made to prove a point was wrong. There's two things you're doing. You getting into family shit and you bringing him into it because that's Kwame's content. Now, if somebody else made that, it might would have been different. But that was Kwame's content. At the time, he was probably letting out his frustration, how he felt at that time. But that's his family shit. See, so that was the main thing, man. And it kept seeming like, trying to prove a point. It was at that aspect of it instead of looking at what Kwame was saying. Because we know TJ probably said some of the shit he did. Nobody ain't denying that. But you missing the point of why Kwame is speaking up now. You're missing that point. And I think that's what it was. And I think that's what it was. That's my opinion. That's what I got out of it. That's what I, understanding I got. That's why I say it's always good to listen. When you have a conversation, you listen to what the person is saying so you can get an understanding. So you can get an understanding. That's like that one time I went over my own video because I was wondering why G Money was feeling the way he was. That's why I went on my video. So I get an understanding of what I said to make him feel the way he does. It wasn't to change what I had said, because I stood by on what I said. But I was just trying to figure out the understanding why he feels the way he do. No, I'm doing my own thing, King Stone. I'm doing my own thing. I don't know what y'all think, man. I don't know what y'all thinking. Who I am. I don't know who in the hell y'all thinking I am. I don't know. But no, I don't do that. I'm doing what I'm doing. Once I get done, shit, I might turn them on, see what they talking about. Because I do want to hear their response from that KB video. I do want to hear that. But right now, I'm doing what I'm doing. So I ain't worried about they on live or whatever. I'm not worried about that. Shit. I ain't even worried about that. That ain't even on my mind. Oh, if you think that's what they did, that's on you, King Stoner. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. But ain't nobody been punked. Shit. Then if you feel I got out roasted or whatever, shit, it wouldn't be the first time. That shit don't bother me, man. I let motherfuckers be great, man. I let motherfuckers be great. I don't go back and forth, man. I don't do that shit. I could have made a lot of anti-G money videos if I wanted to. Well, why? What that's gonna prove? Nah, nothing. You know, we on the internet, man. I ain't got time for all that shit. I ain't got time for all that shit. Shit, I'm like anybody else. I like seeing roasting. I like to hear roast. Shit, like I say, when I'm amongst my friends, we roast. That's what we do in Chicago. You know, and everybody got their certain people they like. That's your preference. You know? So it is what it is. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm gonna go over that though. Once I get off this live, I just want to hear the reaction because I'm sure they're gonna react to what happened on KB panel yesterday. I just hope brothers understand what KB was saying and don't take it or don't change the narrative. The only advice I can give them is just listen to what KB is saying and understand by you playing that old video, you brought him in it. Something he asked both of you and TJ, not to bring him in it. Just because TJ say I'm Kwame's brother, shit, that's a true statement. Shit. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. I just hope the brother learned a lesson. Nah, 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 nah. That'd be childish, King Stoner. That'd be childish, man. You know, I just hope he learned a lesson, man. I just hope he learned a lesson. I ain't gonna. I don't kick a man while he down. No, it ain't about being scared. It's just being true. It's just being true. How that's crazy. I ain't gonna kick a man while he down. Because all of us learn something through life that we have to learn from. Shit, out of the mistakes I made in life, shit. I wouldn't want nobody to kick me while I'm down. Shit. Shit, I made mistakes in life and I learned through it. That's how everybody should be. So I ain't gonna kick the man, I ain't gonna kick it while he down. I'm not gonna do that. That'll make me less of a person. I give everybody respect. Who gives me respect? I don't the utmost respect. Yeah, I respect Biz in things that he do, but I'm still gonna point out wrong. I ain't gonna rah on everything he does, and some of it I feel is wrong. Shit, come on now. Come on now. That's one of the things, most of the things people complain about. They have people in their chat and they rah everything they say. Nah, I'm not that one. If you wrong, you wrong. I'm gonna point it out. In real life, if I call you my friend and I don't, point out what's wrong, I just go with everything you say, then I'm not a friend. I'm gonna go along. Shit. Come on now. Come on now. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I told Bill before he needs to stop going off because I said people are playing on him for him to do that because they know he easily go from 0 to 100. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And he would tell you, yes, I did. So that's a false statement. That's a false statement. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. If you want to know how I feel, you can come to my page. You can look at my video. Like I say, once I get off my live, I ain't gonna have time anyway. But if you want to know how I feel, you can come to my video. But like I said, what I'm saying is nothing against Bill. But I'm just pointing out the mistake that he made. We all make mistakes. I'm just pointing out the mistake that he made. Well, you just not getting the answer that you want or the response that you want, King Stoner. I holler. I'll tell you, I don't know why y'all trying to make me go after people for nothing. I don't understand that. Just like C is trying to make me and Leonard enemies. And how we turned that table. That shit don't work. That shit don't work, man. Try that with somebody else. Please. Shit. Yeah. But yeah, y'all. No. Biz didn't tell me to go after 544. Biz did not tell me to go after 504. No, ain't that bitch. Oh, shit. I hear you. But you know what? It's about that time for me to get off this live. I appreciate everybody who came through. You know, let's keep an eye on this Nolan Wells case, man. It's very important, man. Like I say, this thing can happen to any of us. So until next time,